just some guy again.
I know. What's up?
Wissenschaft.
What's up with this fellow? We don't know him.
I have never heard of him.
Who is this guy?
None of you guys?
I have never given him money.
Okay. Anyway, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to Smudcast number 755, Starship Troopers, When You Don't Understand Satire. Now, I don't know what this video is about. I'm going to assume from that title alone, he's going to criticize the film for not being, I don't know, a good satire or whatever he likes satire to be. So I don't know what to expect from Just Some Guy anymore. We have mixed messages with Just Some Guy. Sometimes he's good, but most of the time he's like 40% there, and the rest he's all in La La Land doing his own thing.
He's good when he talks about Lord of the Rings.
I could bring an example. I have like the first video I saw of him was him tearing into Rings of Power.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I got other recommended videos, and it seemed to be like he generally was in line with like shitting on Disney and the dumb stuff coming out at the time. And then it was like a few months after he got a lot bigger with tearing into Rings of Power, he started to swerve off the rails a little bit with political stuff.
Uh-oh.
And then
it started even before that. It started with the cuties thing.
That's his
That is what broke his channel.
Yeah.
He was doing well until then.
It's a divisive film for idiots who don't know any better. Not for everyone. I don't think Cuties is a good example to criticize. I mean, I wouldn't touch that thing. I would just stay far away from even looking at that film, let alone reviewing it, let alone criticizing it or making a video about it, and for obvious reasons. So there are certain topics that we do not or should not or should have to cover with a critical lens, because there's no need to go that fine tooth and comb for a movie like that.
You don't need a fine tooth and comb to criticize that creation.
I know. And the thing is, I don't want to give it that attention. I don't want to give it that memory. There's many things I'd rather focus like fun things, good things that culture make you laugh and smile and cry and arouse you in proper ways. Not stuff that is very highly questionable. That
it's French anyway. You don't have to.
The French are, yeah. I mean, if it's French Canadian, maybe, but not the French.
I just watched a wonderful anime classic with Mike that it uses the term theme properly.
Oh, wow! Look at that. Always nice to have some media literacy in our creators.
God. Mike, what did you think of that movie we watched?
It was really great, you know?
All right. Good stuff,
Cool.
man. Anyway.
Other than Cuties, it was also the Florida thing, and that kind of really derailed him. And
The Florida thing.
The Florida
Oh,
thing?
the bill. Cyril and I know on that. Well, Cyril
Yeah,
knows
it was
about
multiple Florida things. And he started, that's like what really pushed his content into covering more politics, or like going on other streams, because he used to be a frequent guest on streams that were talking about the Disney shows. And it was those things in particular that caused him to get political, and his reputation never really recovered.
Not everyone appreciates political conversations. I'm one of those fellows. I kind of shy away from them just because there's enough problems in my city, let alone my country, that I have to listen to every day, and to hear from other people in other countries like, oh my God, this is too much.
And they're just getting worse in Canada. Everywhere. Everywhere.
Let's not, yeah, I know.
But also that. But the positive thing. Mike and I were not watching Cuties. We were watching Katsuhiro Otomo's classic triple feature from 1995, Memories. Smut may remember.
Oh, yeah. That was the beautiful, was it 20-minute long kind of clips?
2 hours.
Yeah, but they were like different stories, right?
Yeah, but they're all about 45 minutes.
45 minutes. There we go. Okay. So they were short story animations that were beautiful. Anyway, this is a 10-minute and a half, or almost 10-minute and a quarter video for us to cover. And I know Starship Troopers. I'm sure you guys know Starship Troopers. Maybe you might know the movie as well. And we know it's a satire. It was done that way intentionally. If you don't think it's a satire, you might need to watch that film one more time or learn what satire is or how it's done. If you don't get that still, then, this is not a good idea. A lot of people who look at Starship Troopers, the movie, who don't see it as satire, these are generally people you don't want to listen to for any kind of criticism, let alone film criticism.
I would put this more nuanced and say Starship Troopers is a satire, but not of the thing that Verhoeven wanted to satirize.
Fair enough.
That's the issue. And the straw man put out by people who insist it is the satire of what Verhoeven wanted to satirize, the straw man that those people make is that the people who disagree with that claim that it is not a satire. I cannot imagine that anyone says it's not a satire. It is a satire.
All right.
But it's not a satire of fascism.
Okay. Here's...
And the thing is that the reason why Verhoeven couldn't do that, couldn't make a satire of actual fascism, was because he doesn't understand actual fascism.
Well, one of the questions people raised were, did he actually read the book to understand?
He said he didn't read the book.
Oh, really?
Well, he said he read the first chapter and then said, and then after that I got bored.
Wow.
He's basically like the weird comic live action movie writers of today, with the difference that he was able to make a competent product anyway.
Yeah, I know.
He just failed his goal.
It's a strange
Spielberg
thing.
read the book. Spielberg read Jaws and was like, "Yeah, I read the whole thing. There was a lot of it I didn't like. I like that shark though."
Okay.
Basically, Verhoeven had the same problem with RoboCop.
And amazingly, he did a good production for different reasons than the book.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's his blessing and curse.
Yeah.
I don't get how you can misinterpret RoboCop. I don't get how he thinks people misinterpreted that.
No, people don't misinterpret RoboCop. He just missed to do what he wanted to do, but made something good anyway that he didn't intend to do. What he wanted to do was a persiflage of not a satire, but a persiflage of American action movies. And in doing that, he instead made the absolute American action movie. It's brilliant. Like he failed so hard upwards that he's a genius.
All right. Here's a...
I'm sure
I was going to read a donation, but if you wanted to say something, Mike?
No, I was going to say, no way anyone could misinterpret RoboCop unless you're Maggie.
Okay, fair enough. Here's a donation from Jean-Luc Retard. Thank you, sir.
Ouch.
I'm not at all surprised that a guy who insists that a choir full of convicted sex offenders singing about coming for people's kids was a joke, didn't get Starship Troopers, just some guy is just some grifter, and everyone political aisle sees it.
Oh, he said that about that video?
Yeah, he did. In his defense of Cuties, he insisted that that choir was totally just joking. Obviously.
It was just a joke.
Nobody would actually mean that. Oh, by the way, there's actual convicts in there.
Your movie Sucks said the same thing about that.
Like when you defend that choir, and you defend that movie, it kind of gives off a certain vibe, you know?
Certain breadtuber vibe that I can't.
Well, not just breadtuber. It leans in a certain direction.
All right. So let's get on with the video. It's only 10 minutes long. It won't take too long. I won't speed it up, so we'll have plenty of time to pause and talk. Lots of references, I'm sure. I don't know if he's going to reference the book. I hope he does. I don't remember the movie.
The guy that made the movie didn't even reference it.
That's a good point. Okay. Anyway, here we go.
So this is what it looks like when you watch Starship Troopers, think the Terran Empire is base, and then realize they're the baddies.
What?
What?
That copyrighted.
How are they the baddies?
I hope he explains.
Wait, the Federation?
Yeah, the Terran Federation is apparently the baddies.
Oh, he's off the he's off the oh god, he didn't watch the movie. Again, somebody who falls for the propaganda. The movie itself is built like propaganda. That only at the end, because it's the news is told in not in chronological order. So if you put it all together in chronological order, you figure out, oh, there were a bunch of Mormons who settled outside of allowed territory on their own volition, which turned out to be a bug planet. The bugs took that as offensive, and they don't distinct between different types of humans, so they attack all humans. Because the humans attack their colony, because the bugs are they're a hive mind, a collectivist hive mind bullshit thing. So then they don't think, if you want to use that word, that we're any different. So our species encroaches on their space, so they wipe us out. That's the whole thing. Basically a big misunderstanding.
I got confused. Did he say the Terran Empire? And is that in the movie or the book? Because I don't remember it.
I think Tyrion or Terran.
Both of them are the Terran Federation in both the movie and the book.
Yeah. Okay. So I was like, that's not the right story? What's he talking about? Maybe he just brought that up in his own headcanon. Who knows?
Like, what's the word though for because it played into actual satirical propaganda around the time, like jingoistic, it's for that specific type.
Maybe I don't know exactly what the book was a response to in regards to why.
It was connected to the Cold War. That's the big thing with the book.
Okay, here is Gingaman, who's not on the actual panel, but he gave us a tip. Anyway, thank you, Gingaman. Allow me to share the lesser-known tidbit about Starship Troopers. The armor suits and weapons props were procured by Saban Entertainment and used for Power Rangers Lost Galaxy 2 years after the original Starship Trooper film. Well, isn't that cool? You gotta have all those props from your production put in storage. Let's use them again. Why not?
Don't do what Toho does.
What's that?
What does Toho do?
Toho leaves all the props and suits from their classic movies and lets them rot in a warehouse.
Oh, well. Anyway, this is not a video about production, but anyway, that's okay.
Starship Troopers is making the rounds on Twitter because a bunch of people of no particular political persuasion are butthurt that the movie is a satire about views all of them claim they don't hold. Before it started trending, I first caught wind of it with a series of tweets by some author named Isaac Young. They are just magnificent. There's so much finely cut copium in his 7 tweets, I want to bottle it and sell it at the presidential election. From the first hit, it's a quality high. Quote, why the first Starship Troopers movie failed as a parody, a thread. Well, Young's first problem is that the movie isn't a parody. It's a satire. Satires don't have to be funny. Look at movies like RoboCop, Get Out, Planet of the Apes, American Psycho, and the quintessential satire, 1984.
Wait a minute.
They may have
did he say American Psycho wasn't funny?
Why would you say Get Out? Get Out was shitty.
I think he needs to define the terms here.
How?
1984 is nobody would call 1984 a satire. Cyrek?
Yeah, I was gonna say how is 1984 a satire? It's a warning, not a satire.
I mean, unless he thinks that the socialism would never do this.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with
because in Germany, 1984 is falsely peddled by the left as, that's about Nazis. That's just about Nazis. It's not about us. It's only about the Nazis. Well, no, it's about you, all your socialists, whatever denomination you are.
Well, you can put comedy in a satire. That's not doesn't make it parody. It gives it a comedic level that is specific to satire. Whereas parody is like the Naked Gun. Parody is all the.
It's an overt comedy.
Yeah, it could be a gag comedy. It could be all kinds of different styles of comedy, but
like the scary movie series is straight up parody.
Yeah, but you can't like parody a parody. You can't parody a comedy. It doesn't really, because then you're like,
I'm probably mistranslating because I'm only having the literal translation in my head. Over dramatization,
not necessarily.
just in the comedic sense.
If you want to go with a parody is like melodrama, but for comedy, sure, you could say that. That's one way of interpreting what a parody is. Yeah.
I saw
So the German word would be überzeichnet, which would be overdrawn, literally.
It's a style.
So it's exaggerated.
Yeah. It's a style of, you could say most comedy is an over-exaggeration of a thing, like the truth or a common occurrence, like women and men interacting. So, but satire is usually a political commentary on something to poke fun at or show the problems of something. And parody is just the comedic aspect, or to have a laugh at someone else's expense.
But who uses satire without a comedic element? That's why 1984 doesn't work. Yes, it shows the problems of socialism, but not in a comedic fashion. Brazil does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I saw a video like critiquing some, because there was like another video some guy did that was like didn't get the difference between parody and satire. And it's like parody is specifically for comedy, while satire is the use of humor, largely the use of humor as well as exaggeration to ridicule or expose like vices and flaws.
Yeah, I think
1984 is just a tragedy.
right. When we look at
and
like Family Guy,
I do not understand the combination of tragedy and satire.
Yeah, like we look at things like South Park, Family Guy. Like these are obviously more mature stories that are satirizing something about culture or society in modern times, and they're just endless. Like every week they'll have something new because there's always something stupid happening, and it's just constant satirizing whomever is doing that. They're not trying to be the American nuclear family anymore, at least as far as I recall. That Simpsons has a life of its own. It's not trying to be a gag comedy of what a serialized 8 p.m. very popular show might be for the family. It's something else. It's now just satirizing the world in general. So yeah, it's a fine line, but it doesn't necessarily have to have comedy in it. So
Jay Jameson asked, the exaggeration of a totalitarian state? And I'd say no. 1984 is not the exaggeration of a totalitarian state. It is the totalitarian state as it would be. And as it exists right now in, for example, North Korea.
Like
what people get wrong about Orwell, just a second. What people get wrong about George Orwell, about 1984, is that it is not a warning about what might be. It is a plain list of what the socialists that George Orwell had associated with prior to writing this already wanted, already fantasized about, and would build, and were building already. And the only true future warning, you could say, is with the technological dreams that they had that were not possible to be realized then, but are more than over-realized, you could say, now. Go?
Oh, sorry. I was saying, like, Orwell said that a lot of what was in 1984 was just what he saw Stalin doing, and like, just in a different way.
George Orwell was a socialist before he wrote 1984. He fought side by side in Spain with socialists. And in that, he realized that they were full of shit. They were just to be the next corrupt tyrants instead of what all this ideology promises. Because this ideology never delivers on what it promises. It pretends to until it is in total power, and then you get none of that. And all the people who are then a threat to the revolution, which includes those who brought the new socialist state, will be done away with. That's what the revolution eats its children means. the socialists will also not have a welfare state afterwards because, well, they don't need useless cogs in the machine. They will simply go into full eugenics mode and euthanize everyone, as they've done before. And everyone who buys into the Kool-Aid of the socialist cult, well, all you do is you get lured into a creepy van with some stolen candy. You'll not like where that van is going.
Oh.
But when you realize that, it'll be too late. That's all.
All right. Here we go.
Funny part, but they aren't always comedies. Starship Troopers leans into both the serious and humorous. It's not trying to make you laugh, but it is trying to make you smile
It
at
is
the
trying to make
ridiculous
me
nature
laugh.
of the characters, the situation, and the politics in the story. That seems
For not trying to make me laugh, it made us all laugh our asses off when we first watched it in our teens. Hey,
Yeah.
for not trying, it's pretty good at doing that, at achieving that.
Didn't he say American Psycho wasn't funny? Like, American Psycho is definitely trying to make it, like, it has a ton of black comedy in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
When he's running around naked, covered in blood with a chainsaw in his apartment, like that's like that scene in the hallways. Like what the?
Yeah,
Things
it's like, and it's a ton.
down the hall.
It's a ton of subtle black comedy. Like the way Patrick Bateman acts around presumably just normal people is hilarious.
I had this discussion earlier today and about Americans having no humor, no actual humor.
Really?
At large, and it's mainly Hollywood's fault.
Oh.
The idea was that the claim or the allegation that we Germans have no humor and we are so vile because we have terms like Schadenfreude, which Americans don't understand how that actually works. The same goes for the British. That's a projection, because whose comedies that come out, the things that come out of Hollywood, whose comedies are all just slapstick, where people get hurt, run into things, have things dropped onto them, and have the occasional innuendo crap in them that are just juvenile. And you call that mature humor when it's really just juvenile. Mature humor, truly mature humor, is subtle. It doesn't need those petty things.
You want good comedy out of comedy?
Anything with Daffy
Hollywood?
Duck. Anything with Daffy Duck. The old stuff. America
Oh,
could do this once. But it stopped, I think, in the late 90s, early 2000s.
If you want good comedy to come out of Hollywood, just let veterans write movies.
All those Gene Wilder movies.
Yep. Gene Wilder's
like the
movies
one
are
he
great.
did with the black comedian. I forget. It was like Speak No Evil, Hear No Evil.
There's also Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, all the
Yeah, but
Mel
that's, again,
Brooks
that's
stuff.
old. That's old stuff. It was there. It was there in American film. But now we have just this existential dread and the juvenile garbage. Like I've been trying to watch Parks and Recreations again. I just can't get through it. It's just they try to make comedy without the laughing track in mind, with having in mind we don't use the canned laughter. And it's just as much unbearable existential dread as is The Big Bang Theory without the laughing track. It's just not funny, except the guy with the mustache. That's the only funny character.
Ron Swanson.
Yes, I keep forgetting his name.
All right, here's Halo Reach Around. Hey, how's it going? The greatest anti-socialists are former socialists. George Orwell is one of them, and another great one is Elia Kazan, who later testified at the House Un-American Activities Committee. Quick reminder, Joseph McCarthy did absolutely nothing wrong. Well, spying on Americans probably...
We can argue about his methodology. That's all.
Oh.
He was completely right about his assessment.
All
Did
right.
he spy? I didn't know that.
He did a lot of things. Okay. Anyway, let's not get into that. Let's keep going.
to bother Isaac Young. Quote, watching the movie, it was clear the director was aiming for a campy, over-the-top depiction of the Terran Federation. Perhaps not an outright mockery, but certainly a drastic departure from the serious novel. Director Paul Verhoeven and screenwriter Edward Neumeier are known for their over-the-top tone. Think of RoboCop, their previous film together. That movie is anything but subtle. Verhoeven is also on record saying that he viewed the novel as fascistic, militaristic, and totalitarian.
That's because he's an idiot.
He also didn't
and used the
finish
film
it.
as a way to critique those ideas. I haven't read Heinlein's book. I got about 20 pages in before I lost interest.
Really?
Okay. That's even less.
Pathetic.
That's even less than.
It's one of those I would say it's one of those we talk about the
It's
great
not-
Ameri- what?
It's not even that long.
No, it's one of those great
This guy read the Silmarillion.
like it's
He can recite it.
it's written for
He speaks Dindarin.
it's written for juveniles. It's not that long. It's what I would call the great American novel. I know we talk about, you know, the great novel, everyone can write one. Like, this is the classic example. Won a Nebula Award in the 60s. It's one of those, I'd say, the top 10 science fiction novels you should read. And it's not hard to get into. It's not hard to understand. And it differs very much from the movie. So if you like the movie as just a movie, you'll probably enjoy the more intelligent, sophisticated concepts that Heinlein brought up. And I think Power Armor is one of the best examples that is now in everywhere in science fiction of having a military organization used some kind of technological protective gear, whether it's in space or what otherwise. Anyway.
The fascist state would not allow you not to be in the military. Heinlein state does.
Heinlein.
That's just the most obvious
Throughout
thing.
the book, it's saying, "Hey, it's literally telling the people that want to become citizens, don't become a citizen. It's worth. It is too much for what you get out of it. Like in the book, one of my favorite lines in the book is that it doesn't matter if you are severely handicapped, like if you're blind,
Right.
they will still find something for you to do to become a citizen."
Yeah. And it's
And that is not easy within your margins, within your framework of what you can do. It will not be easy.
the only
So it
difference-
will be easier than for others who are not handicapped, but it will not be easy for you still.
The only difference I saw between the non-citizens and the citizens in terms of freedoms was the citizens can vote. And that's pretty much it.
Mhm.
Citizens, the only right that is for citizens is the right to vote and run for office. That is it.
Yeah,
Everything-
and to say you
everything
should
else
prove
is available
yourself
to
for
even
that,
civilians.
I don't see an issue with
Which
that.
is a classic thing of voting we had before suffrage, which means women weren't allowed to vote back in the day.
No. That wasn't women's suffrage.
Okay.
That was universal suffrage.
There we go. Thank you. People who are going to go to war are allowed to vote.
And maybe somebody should mention to some guy that the suffragettes were mainly pissed that they didn't get the right to vote for free because they were upset that black men in Britain were getting the right to vote before them. Because those black men from the colonies served in the military and therefore got the right to vote.
Right. And
How dare they? How dare they?
in the book, I think the women, if they did want to join the military, they didn't have soldier roles. They had like logistical roles. I think they were like pilots.
Oh, they can have some, but they're preferred to be pilots because in Heinlein's science fiction vision, for some reason, women were the better spaceship pilots.
Yeah, like they were always up on the bridge, flying, being a navigator, whereas the men were always segregated doing whatever military operations and drop shipping and all that jazz.
Yeah, and if you are a military that has an interest in being efficient and effective and not waste the lives of your soldiers unnecessarily, you put everyone to the job he or she fits best.
Yeah, and it's kind of unique because we know that what's the co-ed shower scene? It was not in the book. Was actually in
That was for them. If it rained, that's the scene that they would do.
Yeah, it was in another book, and because the writer was inspired by Heinlein. It didn't say it was a direct result of, but he was inspired by Heinlein to do his own story of how war is bad and how war sort of takes away all these things like modesty and humanism and turns you into a machine. Like that was, I think it was called The Forever War. I can't remember what the book was, how long it was. But I guess Verhoeven actually read that book instead and liked that scene. Like, I don't know how we got a co-ed shower scene to make fun of things, but it was it was so out, like, why did it even happen? I don't know. Because if you watch the film, you're like, this is weird. What's going on here? Because usually nudity is to shock. It's like, oh my God, what is this? Why are people naked in this scene or in any scene?
Maybe it's early progressive messaging.
I don't know what the point was, but when you read the book, it's like this would never happen in this military organization. They would never do this.
Which is one of the things that kind of defeats his point of wanting to portray it as a fascistic society.
So that's why when we see the film, we're like, okay, this is clearly this guy trying to have fun, trying to make fun of a thing he doesn't even know, let alone understand.
And that's why it fails as a satire of fascism.
Okay.
Because that's not there.
Yeah,
it doesn't understand what that is.
It's a great example
some guy.
of shooting in the dark and hitting a bullseye for being entertaining, as he's done with RoboCop, because it doesn't make any sense with the book, but it's fun to watch anyway. You're like, okay, this is great. Anyway.
I don't know what criticism is. I have seen the movie many times, and I found it to be a decent commentary on the flaws of militarism, fascism, and xenophobia.
That's because you're an idiot. You fail on all three fronts. Militarism, maybe you get some points there,
Yeah,
but the other two, no.
The human race is being eaten by giant spider creatures. What do we do?
They're throwing giant asteroids on us because of some religious nutjobs who didn't listen to the advice of, don't go there, we haven't checked that place out, it might be dangerous. And now Buenos Aires is no more.
But then I've heard people argue about the Mormons that because the Federation knew, they just allowed them to go. But no, the Federation told them, don't go. You're not allowed to go. The Mormons still went because the Mormons, at the time of the Federation, there was privatized space travel. So the Mormons had their own spaceship that they could travel throughout the galaxy by themselves.
And doomed us all. And that's why we had to kill the bugs. Dumb bugs. Killing machines. That's the actual robots. The actual thoughtless killing machines with no humanity.
Yeah, we talk about...
Or as Heinline stated, the perfect communist.
Yeah.
Anytime we listen to the ravings of vegetarians or vegans, like, oh, we don't like killing things with faces or brains. Like, how about fish? Fish barely have any mental capacity outside of swimming and eating, but no, can't have anything with a face.
What about what do you call God? This is definitely not the English word. Sea hedgehogs.
Oh,
sea urchins.
Right.
We call them sea hedgehogs.
Huh. Cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They don't have faces.
Yeah. No, there's so much more.
They only have a poop hole at the top
that have no brain activity that we could measure that is considerable to anything a dolphin or a human might have. And it's like you need certain kinds of seafood or proteins in seafood to eat or to survive, rather. It's
also not what actual veganism is about. It's just the esoteric Western bullshit virtue signaling veganism.
We like puppies.
Actual veganism is about reducing suffering in the world.
Sure.
And before you make jokes about, oh, but doesn't that mean that you shouldn't step on the grass because that kills the grass? Yeah, that is actually incorporated in the Buddhist idea, but it falls under the necessary inevitabilities that you cannot prevent. What reducing suffering in the world means is do it where it is. Prevent the stuff that is unnecessary.
I'm trying to remember
that you have a choice over, not breaking.
I'm trying to remember the group in Baldur's Gate 2, which are so fanatical that if you like step on a blade of grass, you must die or something like that. I was like, what the hell is this crazy quest line with the Jaheira? It was the Harpers, I think. The Harpers, yeah. There we go.
They had it was it in 2 or 3? Because in
2.
In what I've heard about Baldur's Gate 3, the Harpers don't make sense and are something else.
There's just fanatical versions that you have to deal with.
In Baldur's Gate 2, the Harpers are really, really interesting fanatical group because they are fanatically neutral. They're so neutral
They're true neutrals, yeah.
that true neutral and fanatically true neutral, and not the Futurama neutrality where they have alarm beige, but the fanatical neutral where they say, "Oh, that nation's leader over there is getting too powerful. He's a bad guy. Let's kill him. That nation's leader over there is getting too powerful, but he's a good guy. Let's also kill him, so that the balance of power remains neutral."
Yeah.
They don't care about good or evil. They care about
nature.
things not changing.
Exactly. Everything must be balanced.
Completely
What does that mean? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, what even does that?
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Fun little side note.
It's not the construction of those ideas, but it does get you through the door. That said, if the film's take is totally different from the novel, I can see how that would bother fans of the book. He goes on, quote, "First, let's tackle a writing pitfall that irks leftists to this day. If you make your characters naturally handsome, fit, and well-groomed, then it becomes increasingly difficult to properly mock them. No, it doesn't. Just because someone is beautiful doesn't mean they're good. In fact, this theme appears throughout scores of stories in many cultures. There are many stories where the villain is a pretty one and uses their beauty to play on people's tendency to associate attractiveness with goodness. Beauty and the Beast
Yeah, like Shrek.
Yeah.
comes to mind. So when Jung says, quote, "Beauty is self-evident, and all the characters in ST are good-looking," all he's revealing is his own bias, probably based on his politics.
No, they are good looking.
Because they're meant to be, like, well, like military, that like groomed to be the perfect soldiers, and they're jarheads.
Yeah, I think Rico.
Yeah, they don't advertise that. They don't advertise incest and marrying your cousin and then creating a bunch of mutants over several generations doing that.
I think in the book he's supposed to be an American Philippine of descent.
I think he's Asian in the book, the protagonist.
Yeah, Juan Rico. He's Filipino American.
Yeah. So it's like, but he's obviously different in the movie. Like, obviously the liberties in the film are evident, but it's like, yeah, no, we're all part of this big giant melting pot called America still, and we all.
He's a diverse character.
All right.
And religion given that dig at the left. I checked. He's a right-wing Catholic. Jung believes that beauty is self-evident, and so falsely assumes everyone shares his views. That's not how reality works.
Really?
Just because Jung...
You don't think beauty is not objectively observable, really?
Yes, it is.
Natural beauty is a thing. It exists. It's what we measure attractiveness by naturally.
Even mathematically, we can use it.
That, then something is odd about them.
No, we talk about the...
Like, look how he draws his character. There's natural beauty about this.
Well,
Same about his more comical version.
Does he actually draw, or is this someone he paid?
He probably paid someone, commissioned it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought he can actually draw.
There are specific norms in cultural manifestations of phenotypes for certain people, for sure. We can look at the eyelids of the Asians, the noses of the blacks, et cetera, et cetera. There's all kinds of beautiful elements which are specific to those phenotypes. But as a whole, we follow the, what is it called? The average, the law of averages.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens all throughout the animal kingdom, not just humans. And it's an acquired understanding of taste and aesthetics. And this is a big discussion of what it means to be aware and sensitive to optics, sound, all kinds of other things which have a universal harmony of beauty and non-beauty.
And as far as I remember, even though people look slightly different across the planet, some are a bit taller, some are a bit wider, overall, the waist-to-hip ratio is the same. That is considered the most attractive.
Yep.
Yeah,
that is consistent. So even though people look slightly different individually, what is considered the most attractive is proportionality within itself, symmetry and proportionality. And that is you could say the substance of beauty, of natural beauty.
Well, yeah, the obvious examples of non-beauty are the wild divergence of phenotypes. So if you say a person doesn't have an arm or an eye, or a lack of symmetry, or
That's a bit extreme of a
well, yeah,
phenotype.
but that's what we want to establish, that there are these obvious examples of beauty and non-beauty or ugliness, and why that is. It's not because we made it up, or maybe tomorrow everyone will
Ron
like.
Perlman?
Well, no, it's not because the next 1,000 years suddenly we're going to love people who are non-symmetrical or with 2 or 3 eyes. Like that's not going to happen anytime soon, even if we do develop new appendages. So there's a reason why we have these mathematical values being shown in phenotypes of human species or mammals in general.
And this is where we again get into where the left they're doing the inverse of what actually makes sense.
Just
When
ugly
we
art.
talked about the substance of beauty right now, the left conflates that, or rather ignores that or mistakes that for the accidents of beauty, of the thing, which is, but this person prefers people with that skin tone. This person prefers people with that way-shaped nose. This person prefers Ron Perlman. This is the whole. These are still abiding by the natural rules beneath that. The accidental attributes do not change the nature of the substance. The substance is still the same.
And we're not.
And the left always tries to define away the substance to replace that with the accidental attributes.
Well, we're not referring to preferential attributes that, again, could be cultural related, specific to certain regions, preferences. We're not saying that. Like, you could have a preference to anything. That's totally fine. You could find that the most attractive. You could find that the most fetishistic. That's again another separate division of beauty. But we're focusing primarily on the basis of koinophilia, or the law of averages, that over the course of your existence you experience human, sight, sound, taste, etc. And you summarize these things in a subconscious way. Either you're aware of it or not, and you go, oh wait, we all tend to like these strong, healthy, active, young people for some reason. Why is that? And there's all kinds of reasons we can rationalize it. We don't need to rationalize it, but it's there.
We can also look at signs of what actually correlates with that heart, and that is health and intelligence and fertility. Those 3 elements are all signaled through natural beauty.
Anyway, that's a whole other discussion. That's too philosophical for this video.
Well, we are talking with an artist or alleged artist. I don't know anymore. I thought he was making a comic himself. The thing is, when other people like Shad made the AI discussion.
No.
That's a whole can of worms.
These people have not even read the basics.
Let's not go there.
It was like you mentioned biology.
That's all I'm going to say. All right. There are categories.
It's like in art class, I was taught natural beauty is a thing. It's not like specifically in art class, they showed, hey, this stuff's appealing, and they showed the that famous statue, like Mesopotamia statue of the woman with the giant proportions, and it's just like as an example of like, yeah, there's a natural appealing thing to this specific the way people are drawn, and it's shown in all culture.
Yeah,
I know that's all environmental thing. If you have a fertility statue, it will probably be pregnant, and if you have if you live in a destitute place, people who have more fat on their bones will be seen as more attractive, not for sexual reasons, but simply because that suggests during these harsh times that person is able to put on some weight. I want to share in those resources. That's a subconscious process. When we live in very healthy times, that overweight is not attractive anymore unless you have a thing for that specifically, which directs people with that.
All right. I think that's a good enough discussion on aesthetics. You can continue on.
believes there's this goal doesn't mean the rest of us fall for that nonsense. But we should thank Young for letting us know that all it takes to get him to go along with bad ideas and terrible actions is a pretty face. He continues, quote, "This extends to the overall Terran Federation as well. We see clean, beautiful streets. Life seems good for Rico and his polite high school. This is a far cry from the crime-ridden and drug-addicted cities we know today. Where are the homeless encampments? The ghettos?" In context to the film, those people probably wouldn't be allowed to live very long. There's a newsreel clip promoting a live feed of a convicted...
No, that is simply not true.
Completely untrue.
Those would just be civilians.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is their thing. They will probably not have a very long life, but they wouldn't be eugenicided as they would be in a socialist utopia, because that's where the real cogs are.
Murderers on all channels.
That's a murderer. Not your average homeless drug addict or something. A murderer.
Also, doesn't it speak that the justice system is speedy and not bogged down to where trials take at least 6 years?
Because the military's taken over it or something.
There is a difference between military crime and how they do things and civilian lawyers. So maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. I certainly wish that we had more efficiency in our legal area, in at least where I come from.
Wouldn't wish for that right now. Right now, you want less efficiency.
Okay.
Because if you have more efficiency, then your maid service goes on overdrive.
All right.
Which it already is, kind of.
It's tried, convicted, and executed on the same day. This isn't a society that tolerates the dredges. It gets rid of them. Again, this is based on the context of the film. Nothing about the society seems to allow for ne'er-do-wells. The other thing to keep in mind is that the Terran Federation is meant to be a utopia. A fascist, militaristic, right-wing utopia, but a utopia nonetheless. So why would Young...
It's not a utopia.
Not even
in a
the
utopia,
film.
I wouldn't need to worry about dying.
It's barely mentioned or talked about in the film, as far as I recall.
Fascistic right-wing. Just some guy. Have you ever defined fascism? Because you throw that word around without seeming to know what it means.
Worship of the state.
I don't think they need all the propaganda if it was a pure utopia.
Well, fascism includes that there's nobody against the state, nobody outside the state. I mean, civilians wouldn't be allowed in this context. Everybody would have to do exactly what he's told. No freedom, and certainly no other parties than the ruling one. This society does have parties.
But with Starship Troopers, people are allowed to voice their displeasure against the government. It's shown constantly that Rico's father does not like the government, and that's why he's like, why do you want to be a citizen so bad? It's not worth it. Just follow the family business. Come along with me. We're going to Zegama Beach.
Yeah. In fascism, that would not be tolerated. East Germany was fascism. That wonderful workers' utopia.
Yes.
That was fascism. It's socialism. It's a democratic republic. That's what fascism is. A democratic republic was defined by Friedrich Engels as the specific form of the dictatorship of the proletariat. Friedrich Engels' words. That's why East Germany could call itself that. That's why other countries like North Korea call itself similar things. That's why they can call themselves democratic republics, because by Friedrich Engels' definition, redefinition, if you will, that would be true. Not under its honest definition, but the socialists, they always play around with words. And they define things away. Like you used the word fascism wrong. Like most people do, because they've conditioned us for 70 years about that now.
My final thing that I'll say is, in the movie and in the book, they put former veterans, or they put veterans in places that the people who want to become citizens can see them and learn from them and see what it would take for them to become a citizen themselves. actively discouraging them from becoming citizens.
That's why they put the ones with lost limbs there.
Yep.
Okay.
Look,
Well, let's keep
this cost, the right to vote costs you something.
Expect homeless in ghettos in a utopia. Utopias typically don't depict the negative aspects of society. It seems like Young is again showing his hand, as he does here. Quote, "Can we nail the Terran Federation for being cruel? I guess. But when you play off cruelty as a joke, you're undermining your own message. This isn't a dialogue about the brutal conditions for training soldiers in a futuristic setting. This is a gag, and it's hilarious."
It is a hilarious gag. It's beautiful.
So
It's executed absolutely dry.
was he originally saying that this was not a good parody, but he's saying this scene is hilarious? I mean, you can't have comedy in a decent parody or a lack of parody, I guess, but it's still funny, however you characterize it. So the non-parody has some humorous elements. Okay. I mean, whatever.
I mean, I think that's a scene that illustrates its satire. Like, 'cause it's meant to be darkly humorous, but also sort of a point of
Yeah.
like,
Right.
the-
Yeah.
This is
it's
the
a harsh
military satire. You could have brought this scene in Hot Shots.
Yeah, I wouldn't quite make this a parody though per se, because they're playing it off as serious, and there's no like unbelievable element. Like he doesn't pull out a ridiculously silly looking plastic knife and cut someone with it. So it's played off as real.
It sets up the running gag for calling for medic.
All right.
Which is great, which also means that works. Something happens, medics there. Medics got your back. Chat. Jay Jameson said Utopia doesn't have negatives. Exactly. It's not that utopian depictions have to hide their negatives. It's that an actual utopia, as you call this, wouldn't have a negative in the first place. China tries to hide its negatives. All the blue cities in America try to hide their negatives, but they're pouring out all of the seams. That's not utopia.
Okay.
That's a farce. Starship Troopers is not a farce.
Maybe because Young doesn't realize that two things can be true at the same time. The film can make fun of those situations and use that mockery as a critique by pointing out the situation's absurdity and cruelty. This might prove a better tool in dissuading people from lionizing such a culture than playing it serious and hoping people would dislike it, especially if they'd only guess that it was cruel. After all, the filmmakers might encounter people who would be unmoved by a clear-cut message, such as not judging others by their appearance. Quote, "All right, what about the critique of comparison? Perhaps the enemies of the Terran Federation have a better system. Oh wait, no, they're bugs. I've seen people genuinely argue that the bugs are supposed to be sympathetic, but they're still bugs. Yes, that's why Neumeier chose them. Apparently his wife isn't a fan of bugs. Many people, myself included, find insects repulsive, so using them as aliens easily brings out people's disgust response. If you wanted to play on people's kill-em-all tendencies, which Neumeier wanted to do, bugs are a perfect way of doing this, especially if people have political and religious beliefs that shore up their negative reaction." Quote,
Dude, you can sell the orcs from Lord of the Rings better as sympathetic and redeemable than the bugs. The bugs are mindless. There's a brain bug. That's the asshole. The bugs are overall just mindless automatons.
Wait, was he referring to the director choosing the bugs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that it's in the book that they're bugs. So what do you mean? What would they change?
That's one faction of aliens.
Yeah, I know, but would they change the main opposing force to I don't know, like something else? Like, why would you say that as a director choice? It's no, it's in the freaking book. He didn't choose it because
he hadn't read the book.
Yeah, but his wife doesn't like.
He had only read the first 20 pages with the tall alien dudes.
Yeah, in the book, it's a lot more. It's even more clear cut who the bad guys are, and you can argue with the film, they added a little bit of ambiguity on the bugs, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's just through not telling the news in chronological order. That's the only way the movie can pull that off.
This is like arguing the primary source was chosen because the guy who made the film of the primary source, his wife said to do it in a certain way. It's like, what? No. Anyway.
Yeah, so you are talking about something that removed itself from the source, which you refuse to read, and then say, oh, it's still totally a satire. When are you going to defend Rings of Power then? Because that's removed from the source, and it is hilarious in a very B-movie-esque way. So is it a satire of Lord of the Rings? That's not that funny. I don't know.
This is not a face I can relate to, sympathize for, or even have a dialogue with. This screams at me to kill it with fire. Even if I didn't want to kill this thing, I want to be in orbit, far away from this creature. It's horrific, and only a contrarian can argue against it. How very Christian of you. And here I thought Catholics were taught to love all of God's creation.
What?
No, that's bullshit. Cyrek?
What the hell is he talking about?
Cyrek, tell us about the meek.
Oh my god, hold on.
Do your thing.
God's famous bug creature, the brain sucker.
There's also things that are called upon us, like righteous judgment. If something is trying to kill us, we can love it, but it's still got to go away.
What does this guy have against Christians?
Because Christians are evil, right-wing, conservative fascists.
Really?
Probably. He's the guy who still in the era where it's like, woo, Christian man, hate the gay guy, or
those
whatever.
fascist Republicans with their don't say gay.
Imagine we were watching Alien or looking at H.R. Geiger stuff, and it's like, oh, we gotta love the alien because it's God's creature. It's like, what are you like? Are you serious? It's a horror flick in space.
Like pointing at a bunch of eggs in the alien chamber that had the face. I was being, look at all of God's creatures right here. Oh.
Mosquitoes were made by the devil. God would never be that cruel.
Oh boy!
Let's see. He allowed Samson to kill a lion because the lion was trying to kill him.
30.
And look, I can go a step further. The Buddhist version, which you would probably assume that it would even more love all the things and not want to kill anything. If something is threatening your life, you can defend yourself. If necessary, kill it in retaliation.
Yeah, this is
what we do with the brain bug, because the brain bug is waging an extermination war against our species, against our planet. It's throwing asteroids at us. So we have to subdue it.
Yeah, this is not.
And they don't even kill it. They they only take it in and then they do cruel experiments to it, but they're not killing it.
This is not an interpretation of Beauty and the Beast like Shrek or any of these other modern interpretations of what ugly is only skin deep. This is a thing trying to destroy you. So the fact it looks ugly and does bad things is reason enough to not even have to contemplate its existence. It is the bad part of the story. It must go away. This is
killing it would be justifiable if it was a pretty Asarian.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to say every microbe that tries to kill you in your body is God's creature, you have to respect that. Well, guess what? My autonomic immune system has other ideas.
Ebola.
It's like these are obviously bad things that must be removed.
You could split hairs all day about definition of creature. Like, does a bug, do drones count as street?
Yeah, does the Black Death count? Oh, it's a beautiful thing. It's like, no.
Well, it's transmitted by fleas. Shouldn't we have mercy on the fleas? I mean, they're not infecting us with a deadly disease on purpose.
Malaria is beautiful. Fault. Every microbe and virus is a beautiful thing. I'm like, okay. Anyway.
You wanted to see how easily people can think other people deserve to die just because they're different?
They're not people.
Isaac Young's comment.
It's not just because they're different, it's because they're genocidal maniacs, just like the fucking commies that you defend, and the fucking pedophiles that you defend.
Did he call the
fucking hell, what the hell is wrong with you?
I will not defend a bug.
He's-
I will
Can we
not
back up 20
fight with a
seconds to
bug.
see if
I
this
will
is-
I will not defend the bug.
You want to hear that again? Oh, come on.
Well, like,
I
is
will
he
also
calling
not
the bug
the bug.
people the bugs people?
Here we go.
Catholics were taught to love all of God's creations. If ever you wanted to see how easily people can think other people deserve to die just because
Oh, he is.
Understand anything about the religions you criticize?
Catholics. Does this guy ever get tired of just the one religion he pokes fun at?
Yeah, and the
He's
joke
gonna
is, the
hammer
fuck.
it.
Yeah, Cyrek, you go.
He's just gonna continue hammering that. Oh, guys, this guy's a Christian. You should not listen to him. Don't listen to him. He's being hypocritical whenever he's not being hypocritical.
Yeah, it's because you can. Oh, I'm making up straw men about a religion I have actually very superficial knowledge of, and only get my info from people who don't like that religion. By the way,
Okay.
Islam is great.
I get my info from the bread tubers that hate Florida.
Oh, just for clarification, I'm not a Christian, but I understand how the killing, non-killing thing works in Christianity. It's very similar to the thing in Buddhism.
Well, I don't
The
recall.
first rule there is if somebody goes around and kills hundreds of people, yes, you will get bad karma for killing that person because killing is bad, but you will get worse if you look away and don't do it.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone defend the bugs as humans or people, that killing them is bad.
It's making a transhumanist argument.
I don't know.
He's making the logic leap of, oh, you're okay with killing bugs. I bet you're just a bad day away from being a murderer. People,
Okay, all right.
Rotom, I don't think he is an atheist. I think he is just anti-Christian.
I think he's trying to make an argument for the sake of it, and he's not understanding what he's actually trying to state critically. And you're thinking, dude, you cannot make the illogical connection between bug and people or person and have it equate. This is not how the story is presented. These are not how the villains are presented, book or movie. So it's just this horrific idea that the bad is suddenly the good because argument. This is not how this story is depicted.
The bug is good because he's ugly.
I don't know.
they're different. Remember Isaac Young's comment. That's how fast that happens. That's how easily people rationalize it.
No.
And he hasn't even brought in his religion yet.
He doesn't
That would
have
make it
to.
much worse, so much faster. Now listen, I am not a fan of bugs at all. I don't want them near me, on me, or in my house. However,
What will you do if they are?
What is your point? You just said no, bugs are people. But wait a second, I don't like bugs. What will you
do if they are in your house and on your
so
body?
the fictional bugs, the theoretical bugs are people, but the real ones you just don't like, even though you've already established that bugs are bad.
He's quite xenophobic, isn't he?
I don't like what is this double talk? First, bugs are bad. Theoretically, they're people. Now I don't like real bugs.
It's like this guy we covered the other day.
Is
He
he
first makes his point. He first makes his point, and then he tries to reason somehow to it and contradicts himself on the way constantly.
It's like he's trying to poke holes in himself, or he hasn't thought the original thought through and knows, wait a second, not all bugs are X. That's true. I'm going to use my brain now to list the differences and where I'm wrong. You're like, oh, this is where the simple-minded person goes, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have more negatives than positives in my assessment of what a bug is or isn't, and why it's a good form of establishing a villain in a narrative to dislike them visually, dislike their behavior, dislike what they stand for, etc., etc. And you have all this criteria, and you go, oh, the bugs are bad.
I can't believe you would dehumanize the bugs.
the non-humans.
The non-human dehumanization. I know.
That's what he sounds like.
Not just the non-humans, the non-humanoids.
Yeah. Oh,
He was a few words away from saying this is how genocides get started.
Look, I don't care whether they're bugs or fire elementals.
let's.
If they're genocidal assholes,
Yeah.
we need to
Mindless.
put an end to that.
Mindless genocidal existences must be genocided. This is kind of what you have to do. You fight fire with fire. I don't know if you guys understand this concept. Someone's coming at you with a gun. You need a bigger gun or a bigger armament to stop them.
Or faster gun.
Faster, stronger, better, more, etc. Or different strategies. You can't just, I'm going to use a knife. No, you're going to lose. So this
You know what we did with small? You know what we as humanity did with smallpox?
No.
We killed it.
You genocided it.
Yeah, it's fucking dead.
Okay. Anyway, he's a Caporal super chat. Thank you, sir. For the 5, God gave us dominion over all animals, and when he learned that ants were communist, he made anteaters. God made John Moses Browning to make guns.
Oh my god, you don't want to know about South American fire ants.
No, we don't.
They are the most
No, we don't.
eugenicist fascists
No.
in the animal kingdom.
We're good. We're fine.
Ants are pretty like the most badass.
David Attenborough told me about it. I couldn't sleep for a night.
All right. Okay. I'll get to zoology later. Anyway.
This guy,
that some of them might turn out to be intelligent. And if they are, other people, not me, should look into that.
No.
If it turned out to be an alien species, I would try to move.
Why not you?
Kill them all.
You're not somebody else do the horrible, dangerous work that I don't want because I find the aliens icky.
Remember the Star Trek episode of Data, and he has the dream with Freud, and Freud keeps telling him, kill them all. And it's like, what does that mean? What does this dream mean? I don't know. And he just has to eradicate all these what are the neural bugs that are eating everyone's brains or whatever it was. It's like, that's the story. Oh, but what about the bugs? Like, they're going to kill everyone. What are you, crazy? What would Data do? I'll just let everyone die. No, you listen to Freud. You kill them all. In case you didn't understand the message of a 40-minute TNG episode.
Now he wants to submit himself to an evil that sees him as nothing but a resource to consume.
I don't know.
Go make with the orcs.
Weird argument he's trying to make here.
Past my disgust of them to find out how the hell they were able to get to our planet. My curiosity would trump my fear and disgust. I'd also understand that they might think of us what we think of them, so it'd be to our mutual advantage to let that go.
He wants to talk to the bugs.
We're not so different.
Go talk to the brain bug. Do it. We'll stay over here and watch.
Do not try to delegate with the bugs.
No, he can. I'm fine to sending him to delegate. He wants this. He does not have the right to send someone else. He wants this to happen, so he does it. It's his stupid idea. He can be the hero to pioneer it.
Yeah, walk across this battlefield and go talk to the enemies shooting at you. Just walk across that battlefield. I'm sure they'll talk to you. No problem.
So we don't kill each other. The film doesn't say how humans and bugs came to fight, but it does imply that humans started the conflict. And throughout the film, we're shown that everyone...
Yeah, but not the Federation. That's even in the movie. If you paid attention, you've watched it half a dozen times and didn't notice that it is actually in there.
Yeah, the Federation didn't start the war.
Yeah. Yeah, but he blames all humans. But, not all bugs, that there might be intelligent ones there. But all humans are at fault starting the conflict. Fucking hell.
Ignoring the continuing movies, there's only one, and it's the brain bug.
You would put rocks above humans.
It's
sorry for this is riding me up, man. I need whiskey.
Just some
including
whiskey.
Taught to hate bugs simply because they're different. The entire
No.
They're trying to kill you.
Yes.
What's wrong with hating something trying to kill you?
They're gonna eat the children.
What is this crazy logic? The things that are trying to destroy you with giant rocks from space and smashing into your... Yeah, you got to learn to understand them more.
When that bug tries to take a bite out of you.
This is dumber than making a case for the goblins in Goblin Slayer.
No, I know exactly what this is. This is him advocating against castle doctrine at this point.
Okay.
That guy at the door is you just hate him because he's different. You don't have any...
if the bugs had stopped after killing the Mormons, fine. Fine. The moments were trespassing. They weren't allowed by the Federation to go there in the first place. Their problem. Good. But the bugs didn't stop. They blamed us all for the actions of a few idiots, which makes them racist. Don't you hate racists? Don't you hate racists, just some guy?
And I seem to remember the film.
Or is it just sophistry guy?
When they stopped the mind bug and Neil Patrick Harris uses his telepathic powers and he could figure out what they feel. Like, they don't outright kill them. They want to figure out as well. So they do actually try to learn about them. They don't just eradicate them on sight. So there is some learning process. And obviously it just comes down to they're scared and everyone cheers. But at least they did some info gathering. It's not pure just kill them all sort of thing. It's like, oh, what's this thing?
Yeah, that's again the Federation, not just killing the one bug that can communicate, but actually trying to communicate with it, which the bug didn't try to do with us. He just leached our brains.
The point is, we're in conflict with this thing, and we want to end the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
He's treating this like this is a war dispute in ancient Europe or something, where it's like, oh, they're fighting over land. Why can't we just have a diplomat? It's like they're not human. This isn't about land.
Yeah, the brain bug didn't want to communicate.
This is like the debate with Doom of like, why isn't Doom guy trying to no, it's because it's a conflict, and the best method that he sees seen to end the conflict is kill them all. And if they find something different,
the actual demons.
And we all know what demons are. Yeah. They're all liars.
Mortally challenged.
Let us keep going.
In fact, Doom Guy does that. He finds a different way to end it.
Simply because humans saw something they didn't like and tried to kill it. Now look at what that's caused. Both sides are trying to wipe each other out of existence. The entire plot line is a warning about why you shouldn't have the kill 'em with fire response.
Are you joking right now?
Please send this man to Gaza.
Is this guy serious? Is he rationalizing war through Starship Troopers saying, oh, if only the two sides would sit down for tea and negotiate? It's like, this is not Star Trek. Like, what are you talking about?
There are so many better examples.
Okay, who wants to pitch in and buy him either a ticket to Gaza or to Ukraine?
Oh yeah.
He'll end the war. He'll talk to everyone.
I'm not going to spend money on him.
Sorry?
I'm not going to spend money on him.
Right.
There are so many other movies that you can use as, hey, maybe this conflict isn't so
isn't as cut and dry.
Yeah. Like there's Band of Brothers. There's
actual war movie.
Band of Brothers was against the Nazis.
But it's like you've got how many Vietnam War movies that paint the U.S. In the, like a gray, morally gray light, or
let's see. Like, I got one. Gods and Generals and Master and Commander.
Into the White.
I remember that film that was made from a book, George Clooney. It was called Solaris, I think, where they encounter these alien species that they don't understand. So they make like versions of their painful memories come to life, and everyone on the board the ship is terrified. They shoot them out the airlock, and eventually they realize, oh, we should probably try communicating these aliens. This is how they communicate, through our memories. So that's a story where it's like, yeah, we're jumping the gun here. We're scared. We don't know what we're doing, but we can actually communicate. We have this dialogue through trial and error that we figure out, oh, okay, they're not trying to kill us. So great. Now, if these Solarian mind aliens created these memory creatures, like from our memories, to become people, and those people tried to kill us, then that'd be a different story. Then that'd just be this really sophisticated way of trying to kill someone or kill another group just because it's a horror story or whatever. So the idea of trying to communicate to anthropod or any kind of non-sentient or sapient species is pretty stupid. And he's trying to, the bug creature is intelligent. It's like, it has some intelligence, but it's pretty much built to kill and eat us.
He's trying to reason with flies.
Let's communicate to the tiger. Let's learn a sign language with the tiger so that it doesn't eat us anymore while it's trying to eat us. Like, do you understand what's happening in this scenario?
I will tell the tiger that I'm his friend. I will hug it.
Yeah, the lion actually is an intelligent, beautiful creature who's trying to eat meat.
Oh God, he's making the Steven Universe argument.
As he said, his curiosity would trump his desire to not be eaten, and
he's the idiot that we throw off the cliff because he's saying stupid shit while we're all going to war.
Dude, I'm totally fine with letting him go into the wild and try his bull. If it works, it works. Nobody believes it will. It probably won't. But if it works, I'm not against it.
I'm curious where he's coming from, because even just listening to this, is just coming into this video, you're like, what are you going on about? Like, what is this? Where are you coming from?
He comes from an antipathy, a disgust for humanity.
He
puts other things over humanity.
I know, but
he is anti.
The reason why people go to war is not because they want to. There's no, like, I can't wait to kill. It's like, no one wants to have this full-scale assault on a castle because their ego is hurt. There's all this planning and militarization and mobilization for some achievable goal that everyone agrees with, or at least the powers that be, like the Lord or the feudal serfdom that says, okay, we're going to make knights, we're going to make siege weapons, we're going to take over this land that our ancestors had, or whatever the argument is. There has to be a reason to sacrifice all these lives and spend months sieging a castle, or whatever the time frame is. There has to be a cost-benefit analysis. You can't just go, hey guys, let's get killed. There has to be a reason. With fascism, it's I believe in the power of the state and the unity of us as a country, and no one can ever surpass that, and we can take over the world and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, that's fine. But the rest of the world will say no, and you're going to die.
Fascism is also it's not just you believe in that, it's you have to believe in that.
You are the state. Yeah, everyone's the same.
You are not allowed to not believe in that.
Yeah. So
no individuality.
Yes. Sounds like communism.
Because they're sisters.
Okay.
I think that just one is an organ of the other.
Anyway, we got 3 more minutes. This already is crazy. I don't think it's going to get any worse. So,
doing something people find repulsive is a great way of showing how easily people can fall into that mentality.
What?
That Young considers it contrarian to disagree with his position only proves how dangerous this mentality can be, because it clearly hasn't occurred to him that the bugs probably think the same thing about humans.
No.
That we're horrific.
They don't
and they want to be as far from.
You have the one bug.
Yeah, he is creating headcanon to say, well, we don't know enough in the narrative in this satire of a film, which is not going to expose the nature or the plot or the other motives of the opposing force.
The bugs don't give us option to.
Because it's not even part of the book. It's not this big, like we're thinking of like Ender's Game, where the bugs are. They have this whole other reason for being, but ultimately they're just a force of nature, essentially, until we finally get to the end, and the queen is like, oh, well, yeah, we wanted to defend ourselves. It's like, from what? From you? Like, but you didn't even talk to us. Now that we know you're intelligent. That's because the intelligence was so far away, it couldn't even attempt to communicate. And now that we had them at our mercy, we're like, oh, so this was all one big misunderstanding. And that is kind of stupid, but that was the nature of the story, to show that war is futile and blah, blah, blah. So, there's other stories out there in science fiction that do it better.
I just thought of it, like the closest to what he's trying to get at is like I Am Legend. At least in an I Am Legend, it's painted as like, oh, they could think the entire time, and the main guy was unnecessarily killing a lot of them.
Okay, yeah.
And that kind of thing, and that's like, that's where it gets morally ambiguous. But but they're still the vampire things are still the book still says, yeah, they're a threat in a way, but there was. That's like the only thing he's trying to get at. He's trying to like describe the bugs in that same kind of ambiguity, but it doesn't work at all.
Yeah, no,
as long as you truly can't tell.
He's giving a
there's no
humanity
moral ambiguity
that doesn't exist in the narrative, which is why do that? Why he wants a different story. He wants this villain, this opposing force, to be more than what is there in the story for some, I guess, humanistic ideal. Like, I don't know what he's getting at.
He wants Mass Effect.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, if there's a better narrative to argue, like Mass Effect, like, oh, the Reapers are, well, that's not a great example, actually, when I think about it.
The Rachni?
The Rachni, that's a great example. They're misunderstood, they were controlled, and they're trying to set right what happened to them. They're trying to survive as well. That is a great example, because that works. And there's more to it. There's actually evidence to support that these very alien creatures are very dangerous, but they're also very intelligent, and they are peaceful when peacetime is present, not when they're being attacked. So he wants other elements of science fiction in relation to war to be present in this story, which is his critique of someone saying that Starship Troopers the movie is not a good parody, which is a very far connection of dots that I don't know how he came from to get here. Like he's projecting something else onto this argument that I'm just like, dude, get your facts right, get your argument concrete, and take your personal biases of ethics and morals out the door and focus on what the person's saying, not your interpretation of it. This is weird. Okay. I'm going to read... Oh, we got some super chats and a donation. I was just laid back, just like trying to pay attention to this guy. Anyway. The Copperell, thank you, sir. Is Helldivers on the Switch? Nope. I want to squish bugs. Nope. It's only on PlayStation and PC, as far as I know.
Yes. Yeah, it is only on PlayStation 5 and PC.
Yeah. The Copperell.
I've been playing fantastic game.
Everyone's playing it. I haven't touched it yet. Yeah, I don't know.
They got a full Discord server.
Really? Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's so many people.
I try to jump on bandwagons. It looks like a good game though, so that's good to know.
Well, that's impressive though, because it's not free. You have to pay for it.
Yeah. Okay, one more from Copperell, then we got a donation. Humanity knows about the bugs and knows about their territory. His high school rationalizing is selling both the Federation and Helldivers. He's a bug. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here.
He's a xenophile. He's a xenophile who hates his own species.
You could argue he just doesn't like war, and he's trying to apply that to any narrative he doesn't come across that fits that. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's really out of the blue.
Work.
Sorry?
Or the Tyranids.
Oh.
Go try. The Overmind probably likes you.
All right. Well,
I'm sure.
Here's
He won't turn you into biomass.
Here's Gigaman. Thank you, sir. Even the conflict in Transformers has nuance sometimes. In cases when the Cybertronian War ends up being the manner through which Unicron can be resurrected, and even then the war was futile because Cybertron's destruction still couldn't be prevented. Yeah, when you have like characters like Unicron or big godlike beings that sort of are more than existential threats, they're sort of like this force of the galaxy constantly coming at you, like Thanos or any big bad in the DC universe. It is
every species' job to survive.
Well, yeah, when you got gods running around, everything is sort of thrown at the door. And interpretation of war is kind of small-time peanuts to the fate of the galaxy. Anyway, to do 7 minutes and a half. We're almost done.
And if they can't be, then they want to kill us with fire. Or in their case, they're explosive shitballs. And for those who might claim that the bugs are just killing machines, I would remind them that that is exactly how humans are presented in the film. They're trained to kill without remorse.
No.
Anything that looks like a bug dies. No questions asked. We're shown the brain bug sucking out that one guy's brain, and we're meant to be horrified by that. Then 15 minutes later, we're shown humans doing the same thing to the brain bug.
Who started it? The brain bug leached out a brain. We didn't leach out the brain bug first. The brain bug is a murderer.
So conducting experiments
We're
on...
not killing it yet. The brain bug isn't killed at the end of the movie.
Well, when you have an alien species you're trying to figure out how to stop, unfortunately you do have to experiment on it. But considering the alternative is you die and we all get eradicated, yeah, you're going to conduct some experiments.
Look, this thing is basically Hitler. And they have mercy on it. This is a war criminal. A genocidal war criminal.
I'm trying to
used his own people out of pettiness.
I try to remember playing the various XCOM games where it's more important to capture or subdue any alien for experimentation as opposed to just killing them and testing their bodies. And it gives you new technology, it gives you new weak points on, it helps the war effort a heck of a lot more. So yes, when you have an invading force that is alien and you know nothing about, you have to experiment on it to learn about your enemy. It doesn't matter if it's biological or strategy or whatever, supply chain, I don't care. You have to learn about your enemy. And it's war. Right. So you have to do bad things. It's normal in war.
J. Jameson made a perfect observation. So for the Federation, they showed civilians of humanity. But show me the civilian bugs. Well, the civilian bugs, it's all military. That's your fascism.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the head fascist.
Reminds me of Goblin Slayer. They have the children goblins. It's like, doesn't matter. They're all bad. All the goblins are bad. Yeah.
They're already going to kill you when they're little.
It's a Doom Slayer argument. Demons.
Okay.
But it's propaganda that humans are finally winning. For all the violence the bugs commit, humans do the same thing.
Not
the Terran Federation is just as much the baddies as the bugs.
No,
they're not. Prettier doing it. Isaac Young.
Okay, you are just some guy. You rescind your entire right to self-defense and justice. Completely. It's gone now. Because that's what you're arguing for here.
And then wraps up with this. The only thing you can really critique about the Terran Federation is the propaganda and incompetence. But when everything is so slapstick, it fails at landing a serious point. These guys are badasses in a funny movie, not a warning about the dangers of fascism. Here's what I think. Young doesn't have a problem with the Terran Federation. In fact, Young probably believes it's based. His problem is that by making fun of it, the filmmakers reveal that society is farcical, authoritarian, jingoistic, and idiotic. And
there's no jingoism here against the bugs.
There's no way for Young to defend it, no matter how cool and pretty he thinks all the people are.
Why not?
So instead, he tries to claim that the film is too silly to act as a warning. That's what we...
How is it a warning? It's science fiction.
What is it supposed to be a warning about?
He's literally saying it's a bad parody. So it's like, it's not much to defend because it's not working as a parody to me because it's such a joke. So he doesn't need to defend a joke. It's self-evident to him that it is a joke. It's just not a very good one.
Then it's a failed parody.
Yeah, to him, exactly. And that's the argument he's presenting. Not that, the characters are like bugs and they're all the same. It's like, he didn't say that. That's not what he's trying to get at. He's just saying it doesn't work for him. It's like, fair. He kind of doesn't like the film. He likes it in certain parts because it makes him laugh. Good for him. Humans are just like the bugs. It's like,
So somebody remind me, did the Federation go to all-out war before or after the bugs threw an asteroid on Earth?
After.
Oh my. So we got the bomb dropped on us, and you say, we're just the same for fighting back against the fucking assholes who dropped the bomb on us. Because of some idiots who didn't listen to our rules. What the fuck is wrong with you? You claim to have watched this movie half a dozen times? What have you been doing while you did that? Did you get high? Did you get drunk? Did you jerk off all the time? What did you do?
I do recall.
You certainly didn't watch the movie.
I do recall the propaganda always ending with "Would you like to know more?" And it's like this.
Yes.
This infographic TV thing, and there's a button on the screen. You just press the to get people to enlist or whatever the focus of the advertisement is. Like, it has this constant messaging, which I thought was pretty smart. And it's almost like a call to action when you talk about marketing online or any kind of video or even an advertisement watching a movie or a video on YouTube. It's like there's always...
It's like getting your headline and snippet, and do you want to read the full article?
Yeah, do you want
to these 3 other articles on Wikipedia?
Yeah, it's like their own interpretation of the internet or an info method gathering. And for its time, it's brilliant because it's like, I never thought about having... I don't even think that's in the... Is it in the book? I don't remember them being... Would you like to know more? And I don't think that's a thing.
No.
Yeah, I don't recall that at all. So this is
a lot of the propaganda in the movie is specifically from Verhoeven.
Yeah, and it's very campy and fun, and it's got this entertaining element to it that makes it work, even though it's silly, which I think is the point. And for him to say that propaganda doesn't work, it's like, it's fine. If you don't like it, that's fine. But
if you want to make a warning and satire about fascism, make a movie about the Soviet Union.
Well, in comparison to the propaganda of 1984, this is like, do you want to know more? You don't have to. They just tell you, no. We're no longer...
They give you the option.
Yeah, 1984, it's like, no. We're no longer at war with Eurasia. What are you talking about? That was yesterday. They were at peace. Yeah. You don't need to know anymore.
Well, 1984, there's no option.
Yeah, so there's different interpretations to say that this is a utopia or dystopia or whatever weird futuristic world this is in.
Oh no, a functioning society where people don't shit on the streets. It must be utopia.
I guess. I don't know. Oh boy.
Counterly revealed by flipping the script. Use humor and satire to point out the flaws and absurdities of, let's say, communism. And I doubt Isaac Young would claim that the black comedy and satire, The Death of Stalin, is too silly to be a substantive critique of the insanity of Stalin's Russia.
Funny that he brings up exactly what I asked for. I haven't seen this movie yet, by the way.
Yeah.
I haven't either.
It's on the docket.
What did you say?
Yeah,
Sorry, Rick, what did you say?
I haven't seen it either.
Okay.
Even though the movie is hilarious, I don't think the problem for Young is the humor. I think his problem is that Starship Troopers critiques views he values, and that bothers him. So in his eyes...
You can't make that deduction. He's literally saying, I don't like the comedy. Even though he finds some comedy funny, he doesn't like it as a whole, as a parody, which is fair. You don't have to like the Naked Gun movies or all the various parody things of police procedurals or military action flicks. That's fine. It works for some people. Some of the jokes are great. I think they work very well. Most of it, probably not so much, because we probably already saw it in the series from The Naked Gun. So it depends. Your mileage may vary on how you find something funny. Comedy doesn't always hit, maybe not even 60% of the time, for even with comedians you like. So that's fine. But I think he still liked the film. Like the guy criticizing, he still liked it. Not just some guy.
That makes the movie a failure. But if anything, the film over-succeeded in making this point. When it was released, it faced criticism claiming it endorsed fascism, militarism, and Nazism. Some people took the humor as a...
Nazism? How?
Yeah, what is he talking about?
How? Where's the National Socialism?
way of salvage of those ideas instead of pointing out their flaws.
Black guy
like Isaac Young, people saw something and then reacted to it instead of taking the time to analyze the film and its theme.
There's really not much to analyze when it's a parody. It's pretty kind of surface level, obvious what they're trying to do.
The Nazis would never have put women to the front line.
Yeah.
As psychotic camp officers that randomly shoot people, yes, but not to the front line.
They're not in the books. They don't do that. Yeah. So.
Not just in the books, because the job of the Nazi woman is to have 8 to 10 children.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got an if you got to there were several levels of that. If you got to I think 6 to 8, that's where you got the highest award, the Motherhood Cross.
Wow.
Prestige.
You got an actual medal.
Oh, it takes effort, that's for sure.
Yeah, but it's like that would be National Socialism. You okay, he didn't say that he believed that, but that people made that. But fucking hell, people know nothing about National Socialism, nothing about fascism. They just throw these words around at everything that doesn't have a hammer and sickle on it, that they don't like, or that makes them look bad. That makes socialism look bad. So it must be one of the bad socialisms. And on the fascism and socialism being siblings. No, fascism can exist without socialism, but socialism cannot exist without fascism.
All right,
You can have a fascism about something else. You can have a fascism about a religion.
We're almost done here. Let's finish it off.
And its message. They saw what they wanted to see and then trashed the film. And many of them didn't have the decency to admit later on that they got it wrong. There's nothing in the movie leading people to support fascism or totalitarianism. That said, if people are already leaning in that direction, they might miss the point and think the movie is based. This is why I think people should pay attention to these two different reactions, because...
So when people already lean to that, they think the movie is based. But when you defend obvious pedophilia and obvious pedophiles, that's not you leaning towards anything and obfuscating anything and gaslighting.
It's easy to say this, because there's obvious satire and elements that people have to interpret to figure out what's going on, aside from the obvious knee-jerk reaction of comedy. But I could say it's based, or I could like it for being gung-ho, for being proactive, for being, let's go stop the opposing force. Like, that's a simple element, that simple emotion of winning the day, struggle and overcoming the conflict. And it's a simple message. It's a very, I wouldn't say it's a complicated movie. It's not thought-provoking. It's a fun flick. It's a fun summertime, like, ooh, let's go watch a fun movie at the movie theater during summertime or something like that. It's like a popcorn thing.
Well, it's a bit of a tragicomedy.
There's all kinds, like, there's R-rated elements and all the disgusting scenes with all the goo. Like there's good scenes in there. It's fun for kids who like all this action and nudity and violence. It's all kind of there. So it works because that's the kind of movies that dude makes, and people remember them from the 80s and 90s. So it's... But, if you want to criticize it as a political message, there's not much there to work with, unfortunately, compared to the book. But, I don't like taking these, especially Starship Troopers, seriously. And trying to interpret all these themes and elements. It's like, yeah, it has these interesting things, but it's not this big message about America. Yeah. It's like, no, it's just fun.
The book is mainly about earn your right to vote. Don't give it to everyone for no reason with an arbitrary thing of, oh, you are this rotations around the Earth, around the sun old now. Because we can absolutely not judge whether you have a single rational conscious thought between your ears. And that means that you are nothing but emotionally manipulatable to the highest degree, irrational, and just a useful idiot to whoever wants to exploit you. And if we know one thing, that is that politicians want to emotionally exploit people. So maybe we should make sure that either more people grow out of that juvenile mentality, or that we make sure that people only get the right to vote who have proven that they, in some capacity or another, usually through hardship, because that develops this conscious reflection, have these abilities that are needed to make good decisions and are not just emotionally manipulatable.
Okay.
Or we do both.
20 seconds. Here we go.
This is these stories that critique the horrors of humanity. It doesn't take much for people to take the criticism the wrong way, or be offended, or miss the point entirely. And Isaac Young has the rare distinction of doing all three.
He didn't like the comedy elements of the majority of the film for parody. That's it. That's all he was saying in that post. This dude interpreted that to mean, oh, he's politically minded. He's got these biases. He doesn't have any humanity about war. It's like, no, he just doesn't like the film that much. And good for him. Who cares?
I think that Young liked the film. He didn't see it as what Verhoeven wanted it to be, which a lot of people agree. It's not what Verhoeven sought for it to be. It's a good movie, and the bugs are bad. It's that simple.
All right. I think we're
in the
done.
movie as in the book.
Let's see what we got in the meme section. Who knows what's going down here? Oh, we got a whole bunch. Alrighty. Hopefully I'm starting at the right time. March the 1st. Yeah, that's today. All right, here we go. Starship Troopers 1997. Power Rangers The Lost Galaxy 1999. Firefly The Train Job 2002. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Using the same props for a few years in a row. Good stuff. Oh, everyone loves her. Yeah, I know. What was her name again?
Dizzy.
Dizzy? Yeah, she was the hot chick.
Oh, Firefly had that too. I didn't know.
Roughneck Starship Trooper Chronicles, the Pluto campaign. Really?
CGI show.
Oh.
It's interesting. I'll leave it at that. It's closer to the book.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Is that the one with the aliens that can't metabolize water and die?
I don't remember. I just remember it being closer to the book.
Here is Conbro. Okay, it hurts and it's annoying and absolutely no one else should feel this way, but it's videos like these why I cannot stomach Helldivers 2, an absolutely fun video game that my friends play and that I cannot. I can't help but think whenever someone is gleefully killing robots and then he's responding to a tweet about the war in Gaza.
Oh, people, grammar, please.
Okay, guys, games are fun. Don't relate this to reality. Oh, I lost my heart to Starship Trooper, Sarah Brightman, and Hot Gossip. I don't know what's going on, but this looks like some 70s music video. Oh, that's just...
Yeah, that's the creepy van.
There we go. Starship Troopers, the video game, I assume. Oh, no, the manga? What is that?
I think that's the animated movie.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I haven't seen it. All right. We got...
It looks like Gundam.
Just some guy when he took off his mask. Oh, yeah. I remember that old look. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
The old one looked better.
Alec Baldwin, the film crew, the director, medic. Oh. That's a bit too much. Rico, you know what to do.
All right, the whole medic thing is also funny because they have highly advanced medical care.
We'll criticize fascism by making it have clean cities, advanced medical science, dutiful citizens, and high-quality schools and infrastructure. What was Verhoeven thinking? Average anti-fascist.
Yeah.
I think they're worse. where I think I would be in 40K. Oh, no. Dead, that's what you'd be. Where I would actually be. Yeah, you'd be.
Hawk made a perfect observation on that previous meme. Just some guy truly went mask off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Here's Hawk.
I wish you had said it yourself.
All hail the return of Hawk, our champion. OTL? What's OTL?
Original timeline?
I don't know.
Ottel.
Clancy Brown is a master of playing perfectly hateable characters in films like The Shawshank Redemption, Highlander, and Starship Troopers, but is even more accomplished as a voice actor, voicing hundreds of characters, including none other than SpongeBob's boss, Mr. Krabs. Hey, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, amazing.
I don't consider Zim a hateable character, though.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, he gets demoted, I think, in Starship Troopers.
He purposely gets demoted so that way he can go fight on the front lines.
Yeah. You're a fool, Superman. There can be only one who knows the Krabby Patty formula. Ha ha. Ha ha. I like that. Yeah, he's probably the most memorable villain in Highlander. What is that thing? Liberal. Oh.
With the face cunt.
Oh, look, here comes the far right. Okay. Exactly, two kinds
The
of
human
people.
sacrifices will end.
I saw this like last week. I could have sworn I saw this this tweet. I just found this awesome movie made almost 30 years ago, Starship Troopers. There's even a second film. Can't wait to see how great it is. Oh.
Don't.
Join Starship Troopers, Mobile Infantry. Yeah. I don't know what that is. Still don't know what that is. What the?
Starship Troopers based Monster Girls.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, it could be anything.
Where's Mike?
I don't know how that means.
Buenos Aires is an inside job. Did you notice all the protagonists are attractive white people? The Federation supposedly prohibited the Mormons to colonize planets near Glendathu, but still provided them with ships. Curious. Yes. Har har. I'm doing my part. Yeah, this is the famous meme. Who would win, the Brood or the Zerg?
StarCraft 1 Zerg.
Oh, 2 was pretty powerful.
StarCraft 2 Zerg are dumb. They make no sense.
Off topic.
So they do have camouflage on creep, which makes them impossible to see by the player.
I don't know why we're looking at random things, but
I don't know.
Oh, I know what this is.
in Starship Troopers, you burn bugs. In Beast Wars, bug burns you. Inferno from Beast Wars. Oh, jeez. I don't remember that character. Caterpie. Damn bug sympathizers. Twitter discourse about this game is so stupid. Fascism is cool. Fascism is bad. Everything is woke. The only bug types were the dam. Change my mind.
Beedrill's cool.
Beedrill is cool.
There's got to be more than 2.
It is cool, but
Well, Scyther, but that's Scizor. The
yeah, Scyther was cool.
Yeah, Scyther didn't have an evolved form for a while. So it's just,
Combi. If you get a female Combi.
yeah.
This is great. Amazing. God answered the believer's prayers by sending him an atheist to build a boat. The Lord works in mysterious ways. This will be an insectoid type alien with a rugged carapace, 4 arms, vicious claws, and some big old titties. All right. There's so many designs that have.
Oh, by the way, it totally makes sense. It's mimicry to lure in the human.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how mimicry happens. There are flowers that do not produce any pollen, not any nectar. They do produce pollen, but they don't produce any nectar. But they do mimic the females or males of insects, certain insect species, and those then want to land on them and mate. And that's how they get pollinated by the flower. It's completely insane.
All right. So if you guys know your Star Wars, Genosian is just a bunch of gibberish. So there's nothing to learn.
Gnosis.
Geonosian?
Genosian.
Okay.
You gotta get that right, Smud. Battlefront Remaster's coming up.
Oh.
The Geonosians.
Geonosis wasn't genocide, it was pest control. All right.
Hey.
This is Stinkfly from Ben 10. Yeah, I don't really care about Ben 10 that much.
I mean, we had someone on the server that cared a little too much about that.
Please don't remind me.
What is going on here?
I want to know now. Heracross, he's really cool.
It was a foolish mistake, I'm sorry. What is going on?
I don't know.
I don't know.
They're bug posting.
Yeah. The Starship Troopers film is so unfaithful to the book, it's number 9 on this Watch Mojo video. For the record, the World War Z movie is number 1.
Yeah, that World War Z is insane.
World War Z is not like the book at all.
It's the, to make it quick, the zombies in the book are the polar opposites of the ones in the movie.
Not only that, it's also told from the perspective of war veterans that the main character is interviewing.
Like, it's a plot point in the book about how slow the zombies are, and they're just straight up 28 days later fast zombies in the movie.
Yep.
So people are just posting bug people?
Yes.
Yeah, they're just bug posting.
These are not memes people. They're just pictures of bug
I want
Yeah,
Monster Girls bugs.
Yeah.
Even if you really like that giant abdomen, it's
This
not
is
a meme.
this is a character called Swarm, and there's I'm
a
reminded of
Spider-Man villain.
Oh, really? There's
Yeah,
literally
he's
a character you can become in Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous. One of the most evil path, aside from the Necromancer or the Lich, is to become a swarm that walks, and the whole point of your existence is to eat everything. You just eat places and people. It's horrific.
And then you die?
No, you're an immortal swarm that walks. You just eat everything. You keep going on and on.
Oh, he gets it. I'm shocked no one's posted Devora with all this bug posting.
Yeah, I don't know what's up.
No, somebody's going to dig it up now.
Is that Kirby? What is that? I think it's Kirby.
Oh, it's Bugsy.
I die. All right. Sees racist, xenophobic, territorial supremacists, ugly, violent bugs. Why is this making fun of me?
Just why don't people like communism?
Juko Bee Fighter. Interesting.
More bug posting.
Agatha.
Agatha.
Agatha. It's Agatha.
And God said kill the bugs. Eradication aerosol. Okay. Spell card. And to loop it all back around to PRLG, the Stingwingers.
That's a hard word to say.
Stingwingers.
Where the memes?
Kamen Rider Kabuto. Jeez. If you get this, I will be happy. Average juice drinker. Average bug enjoyer. What the?
I don't get it.
I don't
You
get
can
it.
keep your fun.
The resemblance is uncanny between Movie Bob and the Brain Bug.
Is that a recent picture?
I can see it, yeah.
I think that is a recent picture of him.
Did he
lose weight?
Yeah, it looks like he lost
better,
weight.
Honestly,
I could see only one giant chin.
Yeah, I can see a difference between his chin and his neck.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Could be a thyroid problem, but who knows? Osama Sentai King Ogre. Okay. Weird. What is going on here?
Geonosis.
This is Geonosis.
The Battle of Geonosis is like the one time in Star Wars those things get used.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Yep. Last one. Me and the boys on Twitter. Just flamethrowing everything. All right.
It's over. It's all over now.
All right. Well, that was bad. That was a weird. I mean, I don't mind people criticizing other critics. That's great. It's just how you do it, and missing the forest for the trees. I don't know how to interpret this. This is
sophistry.
No, it's not that sophisticated.
Sophistry isn't sophisticated. Doesn't need to be.
Well, it can be.
It's just you have your position first, and then you try to argue for it, no matter how dumb it is.
Well,
with all logical fallacies at your disposal.
His ideals got in the way of his criticism. If you want to criticize someone for
what's his ideal?
War is bad. It doesn't matter. We should always talk to the opposing.
I don't think his ideal is war is bad.
He's advocating for talking to incommunicable bugs.
Yeah, but I think his ideal. I believe his ideal is anything not socialist is bad.
I don't see that. I just see a man trying to interpret someone else and doing a piss poor job and getting his own ideals caught up in his rationalization, I think. You could argue he's got other ideals in there. I don't really,
Yeah, but that depends. That relies on his personal definition of that term, which is or left wing or whatever he uses to tell himself that it's not that. And his personal version of that entails, I'm totally for peace. So that's where your interpretation comes in.
I don't even know who the guy is because this was supposed to be about the guy on Twitter, Isaac. It feels like he just had a personal gripe with this guy and he wanted to stretch things.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the guy with Critical Drinker last. It's similar, broken, self-contradictory logic.
Because that's a lot of what he did when he's started getting into controversy over the Florida bill stuff, and he started just stretching stuff to go after people he had a personal gripe with because they disagreed with him on the Florida bill.
Yeah, and I think that's also where a lot of his more vocal disdain for the Christians came from as well.
Because Ron DeSantis and RedTube views Ron DeSantis as like a Christian fact.
What?
Yep.
Okay, well, whatever the political views, this was a bad exercise in logic. And trying to criticize a critic without using basic critical assessments.
Basic logic.
Logic would be up there, a lack thereof, and almost a degree of projection which is not present in the narrative you should be addressing. Because if you're talking about the same thing, it should be very easy, especially a film like Starship Troopers, to figure out what's going on. And if you don't like the film and you give your reasons, like it's not funny enough for me or it's not my kind of humor, even though some of it is funny, that's a nuanced opinion that I like this scene, I don't like that scene. Fine, good for you. That's really nothing worth criticizing. And to bring up the fact that this one random guy that you have umbrage with his political views potentially is kind of, I mean, do you have a hobby? Do you have better things to do with your time than criticize someone's opinion of a film that's decades old, which was a satire? And he might be interpreting, it's like if someone interpreted a drama as a satire when it's not. It's like, well, it's a bad satire. It's like, you're right. It's not a satire. He said it was a bad. It's a bad parody. It's not a parody. What are you talking about? Like,
yeah. Not a parody is a bad parody.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I agree. But the reasons are silly. But that's just your silly interpretation, which is kind of fruitless to even endeavor to look at. But,
Schindler's List is a bad comedy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's kind of weird to even bother to make a video. So I'm assuming he has nothing better to do, or he just wants to. He wants to keep being relevant on YouTube because he makes more videos.
I think he wants to pander to the other side after his cuties.
Oh
debacle.
God, who knows?
And it's really the mask off thing. But the thing that irks me is that when it's about Lord of the Rings, he can make sound arguments through and through, from start to finish.
Because he watched and read Lord of the Rings, maybe?
Because he cares about it.
Yeah.
This here is as much on a wonky foundation, because he hasn't read the book, for one. He doesn't understand what these terms mean. He calls the movie things that it isn't. That it portrays things that it isn't, because Verhoeven didn't understand the things that he wanted to portray. He portrayed something else that he thought are these things. And it's similarly wonky, insubstantial, wrong, and dumb as Shadiversity's claim that the Mario movie was woke, where he also admitted that he doesn't actually care about the lore. And he didn't understand that it's not about the power-ups, but about Mario getting up again and again and again and again.
He didn't know the lore of Mario?
He didn't. He said in his video that he also doesn't care about the lore.
Oh.
Well, he doesn't care about drawing things either.
Yeah, and that's the same as not reading the fucking book.
Okay, well, if you don't know the lore of Zelda, Mario, Metroid, or any other Nintendo games, are you a gamer, sir? Like, what have you been doing the past 40 years?
Hey, what's the lore of Doom?
Yeah.
I just don't.
Kill demons.
Kill the bad guy.
Rip and tear.
Yeah. Shoot thing that moves. Okay.
Hey, guy got really mad at demons and wants to kill all of them. That's all
Yeah, he lost his hamster. Kill demons.
Rabbit.
Oh, it's a rabbit.
Was it a rabbit?
The demons want to kill the humans, so we kill the demons.
The demons originally killed his wife and child, and then he found a rabbit, and then they killed his rabbit too. So now he's on a vendetta.
Rabbit was the last straw.
Yeah.
And
It's basically John Wick
with rabbits.
with rip and tear.
And the newer games that made the lore even sadder, because after he went on a total kill spree over the rabbits, he then found like a new space Spartan civilization that took him in, and he became friends and gained comrades, and then the demons killed all of them too. And
Nice.
And
okay.
but yeah,
Well, that was 2 hours of us listening to a angry fellow.
was that really 2 hours?
Well, we pulled it out as best we could. So, that was a bad video. It was a bad premise to start with and a bad critical assessment of some person's not liking a movie that much sort of criticism, which is silly. But anyway, that's just some guy's channel. Thank you guys for the suggestion. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. We're going to find out because I think we have to move suggestions around for Saturday for whatever reason. But hopefully we'll be back tomorrow. Who knows? Either way, have yourself a good Friday or early Saturday morning. Take it easy. Go to bed. Get lots of water, lots of sleep, the general things. The weather's been really weird here in Toronto, but hopefully it's warmer where you are. So take it easy. Have yourself a good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
People.